Welcome back, Linda.
Hi, Andre. Oh, I saw you were on with Kim yesterday.
I was, yes, that was a
Oh,
that was a
I
really
haven't watched it yet, but I'll sit down and
that was
Watch
an
it.
interesting meeting. She talked a lot about what at the beginning she explained what she does to tune her energies and what she mentors people on, and then we talked about the politics, and um, she pretty much has said for quite a while that she doesn't see uh, Trump or DeSantis being the nominee.
Me too. Yeah.
You don't see that either. You say neither
Oh,
one.
no, no. Trump might get it. I hope Trump gets in there because we'll win for sure.
Right, right. But then, yeah, she thinks it would be someone like someone more middle of the road. And then someone commented on the channel, "Oh no, it's going to be Youngkin, my horrible governor, from from Virginia, because it fits that particular paradigm." I honestly think that it doesn't matter who they pick because they are working with such a crappy agenda, and they've painted themselves in the corner with issues that are so third rail and so unpopular that they're not defensible. You can dance around them and you can say things, but it's just not defensible. And to me, that's a
Well, you saw what happened with Michigan. The Republicans have nothing now over there. They
yeah,
all got voted out.
yeah,
And that's what's going to happen with Iowa now that they turned around and decided, oh, 6 weeks. I don't know why they keep jumping on that bandwagon because it's not appeasing the Americans. It's appeasing the little tiny bit of Christian evangelicals, but that's about it.
yeah. It's strange though how there's this pattern. It's really strong here in the U.S. Obviously, there's this tremendous division and this tilt to the right, to fascism. But I don't know if you've kept up with Israel. They're having a lot of problems over there as well, and it's the same reason. They've got this right wing faction that wants to make everyone religious. And I'm hearing in the Spain election is coming up, and the same thing. The party that tilts right probably will need to make an arrangement with an ultra right party. That's what's happening in Israel. So then you get these nut jobs who want to impose these really strict rules. So it feels like a worldwide problem. I think though that it's middle of the decade when this starts to switch because the
On
energies really
25, it
change.
should be all done and dusted. That's what I got.
Well, that would be great. I was thinking maybe a little longer, but I could see that too.
It's going
2025.
to improve. But Netanyahu, I don't know. Did you look at his chart?
It's not great. Netanyahu.
I think just what they said, the army's going to refuse to step up. They're not going to serve him, and there'll be so much chaos. He has to step down.
Yeah, well, it's dicey there though because they're not able to actually choose a government solidly. They're kind of a little bit like Italy now, where they're always electing a new government because there's never a solid choice. And this is
Right.
the thing that when you get these people think if you have more parties, it makes things better, but it often makes them worse because then you split the coalitions and then you have to make deals with parties you don't like, and it tends to make things worse often. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
but he.
I had a flash when Biden went to NATO, and I had this flash like he knows something, like he's going there because he knows. And I felt Ukraine, and I thought, he's going to make some sort of deal? Something's going to happen. And then when Turkey was talking, they said, well, we don't want to put, is it Sweden in or
Sweden,
Switzerland?
yeah,
Okay.
Sweden.
We don't want to put Sweden in unless they start doing stuff for us. And I thought, okay. And I almost felt like a check being signed. And they gave them some sort of deal. And boom, that's what happened. And now Sweden's coming into NATO.
Yeah,
Kim, 1 second. Sorry, the dog opened this doggone door again. I think there's something wrong with my door. It's not locking up like it should. Okay. It's
so
going to be in the hundreds today.
yeah, it's hot, really hot.
So,
So Sleepy Joe strikes again, huh? Yeah, I
yeah.
know. Everyone is always saying how Biden is too old and he's too feeble and all this, but every time something happens, it feels like he's the one arranging it because for the longest time, Sweden can come in, and then he just said, no, no, that's going to happen. and within 24 hours, they had a solution.
But I get a bad feeling about Putin.
Oh, do
I
you?
get a feeling this really pissed him off. He's
And
mad at that guy from Turkey,
Mhm.
and I feel he might get a little desperate. Now, what I felt was him grabbing for something like going to create some madness and somebody grabbing his hand. Remember, I always feel like somebody within the organization would stop him, but I feel he's very upset.
Well, Erdogan, though, apparently the way they got him to agree, he wanted some weapons from the U.S.
Yes.
and some F-16s, high-tech equipment. The thing about Erdogan, though, is that he apparently is in some ways allied with Putin, but in some ways he's not. In the past, I remember a few years ago, he shot down some Russian planes, and I remember thinking, wow, and Russia isn't going to do anything, and they didn't do anything. They let it pass. So he doesn't seem to be afraid to defend himself either.
Wow.
Not exactly, a pushover that way. I don't know I don't know what the dynamics are, why he's allied with Putin at all. But then he's in NATO as well. So, this
Yeah.
can't be good for Putin now. Sweden, Finland, it's not good. It's not a good
Oh,
thing.
Putin really wanted Trump to go in there and just blow out NATO. He wanted Trump to just get rid of it.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
And that was his focus.
It was, yeah, no, there's no question. There's no question. But that has not turned out. This is the thing that, people are often asking, well, what do you see about Putin? Well, I can say that his astrology chart isn't doing well, but I can also just look at the momentum. How can you be thinking that Putin's situation is good? What's good about it? There's nothing good about it. Everything that he's tried has, not worked out. And
Exactly.
now it's left to maybe, this is where I don't know whether or not they'll have to give up. Do you sense that the Ukrainians are going to push them out of every inch of Ukrainian land?
I
or
do. I
You
do.
do. Well, then even worse. Then
I
there's-
just feel like they're getting stronger and stronger, and then they're going to insist. I'm almost seeing a white flag, but I think it's from Russia.
from Russia. Oh, well, from your
Fair
lips.
enough. Let's stop this. The war's over, and then boom, they jump into NATO.
Yeah. Well, today the news was that some people are upset with Zelensky because he's demanding too much. But what is
He's desperate. His children are dying. Human
Yeah.
beings are dying. If you
Yeah.
could see the ugly, people are being raped. It's like, God, no, he's desperate. He's tired of this bloody war.
Yeah.
But that's why he's so insistent, And I was just waiting for the Republicans to make a comment because he wore that green shirt and those khaki pants. You know how they were all upset. He showed up at the White House and Congress in a green shirt and khaki pants. I said he's comfortable.
Well, he's also in a war. He's in a war.
Yeah.
What do you expect the guy to show up in his gym equipment or in his suit? How would that be? How would that be reflective of the jam that he's in? Obviously. What do you get for this guy, this Republican tool that continues to make a fool of himself? This Comer character. He keeps going on TV and he talks about that whistleblower that turned out to be a spy that got charged with multiple things. Do you get
Yeah.
anything on him?
The spy that's running right now.
Well,
they're
the
looking
spy
for.
and the senator that keeps.
Oh, and they're still now they're acting like this is something Biden's DOJ did to get rid of this guy from talking, and that's not what happened.
Yeah,
But
no,
they're
it's
gonna
not.
find him. They're gonna catch up with him.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, see, this is what it comes down to with all this talk is that the problem is the gap. There's always a gap between you hear this guy gets charged or gets indicted, but now he's a fugitive. So now they have to catch him. Then
Yeah.
it might be, who knows, maybe it'll be 2026 before you read or hear they finally convict him and put him away. There's a big gap, and people don't have the attention span to realize that, yeah, if you get charged by the feds, usually it's because they have evidence that you did something. They're not just going to charge you for no reason. That's what happens in Russia, not here. That's the whole point, right? But
Right.
in the meantime, Republicans can say, oh, well, it was the Biden DOJ. This, by the way, is what Trump is saying now, that basically you should just delay the trial until the end of time, because I'm too busy running for president. And really, this is just Biden's Justice Department trying to prevent me from becoming president. But the counter argument would be, well, that's great. So all you have to do is run for president, and then you don't have to be worried about any crimes you've committed, right? Is that the logic, that we should bring in a rule like that?
And also, he's not going to win. So then what happens?
No, exactly. And my feeling too is that I don't think it's going to work. I think even with the Florida judge, Aileen Cannon, I don't think she's going to give him,
Carte blanche.
well, like this thing of we're not going to have a trial till 2025. I don't think she's going to do that. Do you feel
No,
that?
not at all.
Oh.
I didn't feel. Although she would think about it.
Oh, well, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm thinking about it too, but that doesn't mean I'm going to do it. Sure, of course. No,
Yeah.
no question. But this is the logic that they're using everything. The GOP is, their messaging is this is all Democrats trying to get us, which I guess is true. But the reason they're getting you is because you're criminals. What do you mean they're trying to get you? Don't commit crimes. That's usually how it works.
You're picking on me. I'm the only president. Well, you're the only president that committed these crimes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not just one.
I'm doing this for you. Because of you, they're picking on me. Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't. I think he doesn't get even that. By the way, what did you're saying you were getting some input and you did some more digging yourself. What's your sense of the timing when you look at as the year is moving along? Do you feel like it's more imminent, or how?
It feels like something's going to happen with Trump. Not that there's a lot of people around him that are the same way, but it's like he's the leader of the pack. And when he goes down, everybody else is barking to the wind. It's like it's nothing. Nobody's going to be paying attention.
Right.
It was how I described it years ago. And I'm so sorry it's taken so long. It's almost like when McCarthy ended. All of a sudden, nobody was interested in hearing about it.
McCarthy, the McCarthy of the 50s.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling like. He's a nothing burger. Somebody could try to jump on the bandwagon. I'll tell you, Jordan and that other guy look so bad right now, trying to run with that fake spy.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. I mean, if they had substantive information, but it's like in a way they've learned from Trump, because Trump's whole thing is he always thinks it's just a matter of throwing information out there. Just throw anything out there, like Trump's favorite. The which?
And see if it sticks.
See if it sticks. Yeah, like Trump's. You could see this years ago, way back in 2018. He started saying Biden is corrupt, and I remember thinking, he's saying that because he knows he's corrupt. So that's the way to counteract it. Just call people what you already are, right? But they're doing this everywhere now, and they even admit it because I've heard Chuck Grassley say, no, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. We just want to be able to say it, right? So that they can keep their people busy on Fox and so forth. But even there, I don't know if you've checked out some of the Fox things, because even without watching Fox, it'll show up on different YouTube channels. And they've got a lot of counterpunchers on Fox now. There are people there. There's this liberal lady. I don't know if you've seen her. She's very, very astute. She has all her facts.
I don't watch Fox at all, but tell me about it.
I've seen her sitting in a panel with, the usual Fox, like Janine Pirro, that other guy that we always see spouting insanities. And she starts talking and they're all dead silent. And she just points out, where are you going with this? The numbers for Trump are horrible. If you put Trump there, he's going to lose. What are you guys thinking? And they're all like this, because they don't have anything to say, because she quotes from numbers. She says the economy is really doing well. You guys can say the opposite, but
better. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then she points out what the breakdown is throughout the states and so forth, and they have no argument to make, right? So the interesting thing is it's happening on Fox, because you're not going to see, for example, on MSNBC, you won't see some right-wing radical,
They have on occasion brought a right-wing person, and everybody complains.
Exactly. No, it's not too often, So this is the thing, that you see the right-wing apparatus in the end is very split. They've got all kinds of arguments among themselves, within the media. They've also been hit by, the law. I mean, look what happened to Fox with that judgment, and they're probably worried.
More to come.
More to come, exactly. So they're in a wounded state. And on top of all that, they don't have a lot to play with. I mean, they need something to go wrong. And not too much is going wrong.
No,
That's the
everything's
thing.
going good.
Right.
Oh, they were all upset because Biden was out with his shirt off at the beach.
Oh, also, he wasn't wearing his socks. Wasn't that another one of the things they
Oh.
accused him of?
Christ. But if you Google his wife, you can find nudies. You Google Trump's wife, you can find
I know.
even the daughter. So I don't know. They're so desperate. That's the desperateness. That's the desperateness. Let's find something. Hey, did you see that Satan's wife? What did I might have said it with you. I don't know whose show I was on. I said, these people better not. He was saying, don't send the money to the Red Cross. Send it to my wife for the hurricane.
You're kidding.
No, he was on TV and saying it. And I said, you guys remember, I said, oh my God, no, don't send it to her because it'll never get in the pockets of the people that need it. And they just showed that she got $34 million, but she doesn't have to show anything that she did with it.
Wait, what money is this? It's for the hurricane?
Hurricane money, that hurricane they had.
Wow.
It was a pretty good size one. And that's where he was wearing the patent leather white boots. The Satan. And he said, don't send the money to the American Red Cross or anybody like that. Send it to my wife. Specifically, my wife. If that's not obvious.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And then this guy, I'm going to have this guy named Arthur on, and we got a little bit into the political arena, and then I said, you got to be on the show. He said, oh, you know what? That woman, he didn't know about this. This didn't come out till afterwards. He said Satan's wife is going to get in trouble because of some money issue.
Interesting.
They're going to dig into that and say, hey, the other thing, I kept feeling this blowout. So I predicted it. Well, I predicted Trump wouldn't win. But I also felt, I'm shocked that they even got a couple of numbers up on Congress. But I kept feeling a blowout. And now I'm wondering, because, sometimes you'll feel something that happens next, not necessarily then. I'm wondering, because I really feel this next set of voting, it's going to be a blowout. I feel women are going to come forward. They don't want these people taking away their rights. Look at this Satan. He's not even liked in Florida. Blacks don't have any rights. Blacks can't vote. Look at what Iowa just did. They're going to do to them like what happened in Michigan. They're going to just vote all either independents or Republicans or Democrats.
Yeah, well, that's what the current trend is. That's the trend. The numbers say that something has to happen to reverse it. I don't see a lot of talent on the Republican side.
No.
The main talented person is Chris Christie, and I don't think he can get that much
No, he
traction.
won't make it. He'll never make it.
He's doing some damage through his comments, but so then besides that, who do they have? Point to a person that.
I don't see Trump being on the stage debating.
You don't see him on the stage debating?
No, I'm almost feeling like he won't do it. He doesn't feel he has to. His numbers are so huge.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What if maybe he's not on the stage for some other reason?
Could be. I just feel like he's running from having to, did you hear how he told that governor of, what state was it? Is it Iowa? I think it was Iowa.
No, I think you mean Nevada.
No, it wasn't Nevada. It happened today.
Oh, today. Okay. So this was a few days ago.
Made a terrible comment about her because she's for the Satan.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah.
And he took off on her.
Well, he was doing Nevada a few days ago, saying that he said that he was asked, what are you going to do because you lost Nevada in 2016 and in 2020? He says, no, I didn't. I won it both times. I mean, he's amazing. I mean, it's like me. I've won the U.S. Open the last 5 years. I mean, people don't know this, but I've won. I won every time. It was close a couple of times, but I still won.
You know, if you say it and you believe it, people will tend to think, oh, okay. It's like that song that Michael Jackson used to love. This group sings. Well, what's that song? It's like, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And it's like the girlfriend catches him with somebody. Wasn't me. But I saw you. Wasn't me. Wasn't me. Then it makes you second guess yourself.
Well, I mean, sure, but you have to accept it, right? I mean, this is like if someone, you know, this thing around when people throw curses at other people, and it depends a lot on the person's belief in the other person's power. If you don't believe in someone's gaslighting, then it takes away their power. But if the gaslighter knows that he can say things, and either because you're weak or because you're stupid, and I mean, let's face it, these guys get all angry when you accuse them of being dumb. But I have to ask, how can you follow a guy like this unless something in you isn't working very well? You know, in your
Oh, they
mind.
show him on the news. Oh, Biden's not real. That's an actor. Biden's not really the president. That's an actor. Trump is the real president.
Yeah, well, in your mind, I guess. You know.
But somebody, I think it was you or somebody said astrologically that whole Neptune thing has been going on, and that won't calm down until 25, 26.
Yeah, no, the main thing is that in 25, 26, when major planets switch signs, things switch. And Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011. And it's going to switch, you know, basically it's a 15-year journey through the next sign. So that definitely changes the energy, yeah, for sure. It's just that it's not quite that simple in that we have to get through that together with a different cycle, the Uranus cycle. Those two are really close to where they were in the Civil War period, right? So this is why I have to see this play out post the election, and there may be some unrest there, you know.
Yeah,
I think that this whole thing, I mean, when you think about, we've said it many times, it's a racial thing, a racial resentment thing. You can almost describe it by pointing to, you know, MTG. She was upset that they caught her. She had a thing she had posted, and you could see the Confederate flag somewhere on the floor, and then she didn't want that to be seen, right? But that's really the logic of all this. Like, go back to even when Trump was president, he was all upset that they were changing the names of the bases because they were all named after these losers that lost the war. It's almost like the war was lost 100 years ago, or more than 100 years ago, and they appeased them by saying, okay, you can put up statues of your generals and all this, where, you know, that never happens. When you lose, you
I
lose,
know.
right? And especially when losing means now you put people up that are provoking. You know, you're provoking the bad feelings of African Americans, which was the whole point of all that bloodshed, right? So,
He wanted to be up on that mountain with all the faces.
oh yeah, well that's Trump. Trump wants to be up on
Oh
every
my
mountain. I know.
God.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think.
Remember the Queen loved him. She said I was the best president she'd ever had at the palace. And they were talking about Biden touching King Charles and talking to somebody, and it was upsetting King Charles because they do that protocol bourgeois. I don't know if it really was upsetting them. They were acting like, well, Fox News. Oh, look at he touched the king. He touched him on the back. He just patted him. And I thought, well, show a picture of Trump.
I know Trump walking in
Push
front of
the
the
queen out of the way so he could walk ahead of her.
I know, it's remarkable. It's just remarkable. I mean, remember Obama? It used to be that he wore the wrong suit or put his feet up on the desk.
Or Mrs. Obama, Michelle, wore a sleeveless dress. But like I said, you Google Melania, you're going to find some nudies.
Yeah, no. Well, this is the thing, though. I mean, you see that in a way, modern politics is all about messaging, who can get their message heard. You know, but there are two sides. I mean, it's not like they're the only ones putting information out there. We know the information too. How do we know anything? How do we know any of what is happening in the world unless, yeah.
And the other thing with the left is that sometimes we do overkill. We're too reactive. we've got to just stop with the focus in, like somebody was talking about the Satan's wife's eyebrows. I said, you know what, you guys, we got to pick our battles. And I don't think making fun of people for their physical appearance is picking a battle. It just continues more of that hate.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I agree. Yeah. But it's the period we're in, and you'll get overstepping for sure.
yeah,
On
but
both
we
sides.
tend to kind of, well, look at MSNBC can do 24 hours and nothing about how god awful Trump is.
Yeah, well, I mean, but see, in a way, that's the service. I mean, if you think about it, if you didn't have MSNBC and to some extent CNN, then how would people know, what's going on? I don't know if you noticed that that channel on the internet, Midas Touch,
Yes,
they
I
have
love that show.
they have all those lawyers, and what they're doing that MSNBC is not doing, and so they're another. You can call it left wing, but you could also call it the real truth, because what they're doing is presenting the actual legal information of all the cases down to the minutia. And so then they pretty well tell you what's going to happen next, because they'll say, no, the motion says this, the judge said this is likely to be next. And you need to hear this. Otherwise, for all you know, what you're hearing from Republicans is what the correct message is, right? So,
Right, exactly.
but then the logic becomes, though, what I've said in frustration. I've had arguments with Trumpers, and what I said to them is, look, how do we know anything? We know what we know from what we listen to. However, you're listening to information, you're listening to fake news. So what's going to happen is things will turn out according to what I'm hearing, and then you'll get all upset and you'll say that there's a conspiracy. There's no conspiracy. Just listen to real news. Don't listen to made up stuff. You follow a person who makes up things on the fly constantly, right?
Oh my
He's the
God.
makeup artist. Everything is made up. I won every time. I won by 5 million. I won by 10 million. The numbers keep growing. There were votes in the river. All kinds of things. There were government cameras. He said that there were government cameras that,
And he
captured
ruined
everything.
those two poll workers' lives by accusing them of bringing in fake. Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah, but I hear, didn't Giuliani have to settle with him, or isn't Giuliani
I
caught
don't
up?
know. I don't know. Giuliani is going down the drain too, by the
It's
way.
another one, yeah. And this is the thing. It's really hard. The problem with how do I say this? With your chart situation is, if you don't have anything, if your chart has pressure, it'll pressure you in some way. It always will. That's
Yeah.
the nature of it. But I always say, don't give it a reason to create pressure, because if you do, then that's the way it'll be brought in. You could see with Giuliani and Trump in years past that they were going to walk into this situation. Similarly, a person that, that actor Jonah Hill, he's having a bit of a, kind of a scandal thing about maybe there's been abuse. We don't know. And I'm not saying that there's been
Right.
either. However,
In some relationship of his or something. Yeah.
yeah, but you look at the chart and you see it. It's right there. There's a problem. There's a problem. It's going to take a while. I don't know which way it's going to be
I
resolved.
haven't even heard anything.
Well, there's a problem because there are squares, and it's to a really vulnerable spot, and you kind of go,
Oh, what a shame, because I loved him and Don't Look Up.
oh no, yeah, no, there's no question. He's yeah, but the point is, if the chart is like that, then that's what happens. I saw this too in there's that documentary with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So,
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet. Do you recommend it?
yeah, I do. I totally recommend it because he is just an interesting character, and he's had many successes in different areas. But there's a point where something really went wrong that he didn't like, wasn't expecting, and you see it there. You see it in the chart. Then you see how things get better. So I mean, it didn't end his life or anything, and it didn't destroy his career. But there was a moment when he really had a hard time, and you see
You
it.
can
there as
see
well.
it. And also you even saw Madonna that she
Oh
was-
yeah, no, Madonna, the same thing. Madonna is you see when you have pressure in your health houses, the thing that can happen is you're healthy and you are working on being even more healthy. You realize, okay, now I can tweak it. But if you're told there's this problem or you feel something happening, put all your attention on that, because that's what the chart is telling you at that time, right?
Right,
That's the
exactly.
logic of it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. exactly.
So we got an email and I forwarded it to you. Someone was asking about, was it Justice Thomas?
Right. The question was, it was about, how did the person phrase it? That Justice Thomas and Ketanji Jackson, the
Oh,
the judge that Biden appointed, and of course she's liberal. He's completely on the other side of it. And what the person said is that she had a sense that Jackson may even be afraid of or
Thomas.
Thomas. And I would say that's a good argument because the way you know when there's a sense of possible admiration or even fear or grudging respect, at least towards someone, is when you see a person's chart and the other person's planets are up above them, up above in the high houses, and that's where Ketanji Jackson has all her planets. She's got Virgo and Libra all up above. That's the firmament for Thomas, right?
Oh,
And then
she
you,
thinks in terms of justice too.
yeah, well, no, for sure. Yeah, that's true. But to him, it's liberal justice. So he opposes her views, but there's a definite, at minimum, there's a respect and a bit of a, suspicion that she may one up him or, something like that.
Well, I even feel like, she might be, she'll say good morning, but she's not impressed with him at all. He's a stab wound to the African American culture. Does not stand up. Look what he's doing. He's saying no affirmative action, even though that's how he got through college.
Well, I mean, it's with these subjects, it's easy to make really inflammatory statements. But my sense of Thomas, from looking at his biography, he almost seems like someone that wants to be white. Like he's got that OJ. The way he reasons, you think, like, what is wrong with you? You obviously, I mean, you're your race. There's no problem. I mean, Obama is black. He's really smart. What's the big deal?
Yeah, and
Anyone,
Obama had half white in him. If anybody could act white, it could be Obama.
exactly, but his whole career, it's like he's got a chip on his shoulder because he thinks that he's really smart, and the only reason that people think he got ahead is because he's black. Well, that's not true. Maybe it's partly true.
Yeah.
But if it's partly true, big deal, and if it's not partly true, big deal. But he makes it into a thing, and then he spends all his time, in a way, betraying his race. It's a
I
strange
know,
thing.
and you know what? He's smart. He didn't have to be that way. And
I
he
know.
married the cray.
Yeah, well, that's true. In a way, I mean,
Who called, by the way, who called that woman, Anita Hill, in the middle of the night and said, "You need to apologize to my husband."
yeah. I bet Anita Hill said, "Yes,
Wait.
Ginny, just Ginny, that's gonna happen. It'll soon happen. Soon.
The apology letter's in the mail.
Yeah, it's gonna happen anytime soon. I mean,
He's going down, by the way. And if y'all watch me with Arthur coming up, Arthur even gave a date. He said not for him. Actually, yes, the beginning of next year. And he sees Jenny Thomas in trouble. In financial trouble because of the money she took.
that's a really big prediction because well, what do you mean by, or what did he mean, or about him going down? Going down how?
Just that it's the combination of him not feeling well, and also that a Democrat wins again in the presidency. Thomas would probably retire if Trump won.
Right.
He said, "Good, I'm out of here." But I feel like because I kept seeing him looking at a calendar, trying to figure out an exit. But I see so much happening with Jenny with the January 6th that Thomas just says, "I got to get out of here." And don't forget, they're bringing forward this list of things that they have to do now. They got their nose up in the air. We don't have to answer to you. Then you find out Thomas has been with these multi-billionaires.
It's true. Yeah. No.
Getting money directly from them. But acts like, hey, it don't matter. I don't care.
So then, when you say next year, you mean next year, post-election next year, like at the end, not at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I'm repeating what he said.
I mean, because if this
I think
happened,
he said February of next year. But
wow, that would be really explosive if that happened. Then
like he'll have to step down.
that would create another. Can you imagine? Because if that happens, Biden can nominate a judge, and then they're going to start doing that thing about how, uh, you shouldn't do that in the election year. But hey, they did it. That would be actually perfect justice if you think about it, right?
Yeah,
If it happened, and
it's perfect.
they were getting someone in there, to take revenge for what they did to Merrick Garland.
Now, I could be wrong. I'm just repeating what he said. I took a few notes, and then when we do the show, there'll be more detail. He was just going off. He was just boom, boom. And I said, hold on, let's do a show. So
Yeah,
you
that
can
sounds-
tell everybody.
That
Because
sounds
a lot
really
of it was the same thing you and I have predicted.
right. No,
I
that-
forgot to ask him, like what Kim says, that she feels there won't be the Satan or Trump. And I've often felt Trump wouldn't make it in. But I'm still on the edge. I'm still not, but I think I didn't ask him that. So we'll ask him that.
Well, the thing with Trump is that I think these next 60 to 90 days are really critical, because my sense of the astrology is he's going to run into a brick wall, but I don't know quite yet what the brick wall is. For example, let's say that he gets 2 more indictments. That's a lot of indictments. It starts to get really dicey around, depending what is in there, what they've got. Also, judges are different in different places. If you charge them in D.C., those judges aren't going to do what Eileen Cannon is doing. They'll
Right.
play it according to the rules. So it could be really really devastating. Not
Now,
to
have
mention,
you looked at his chart recently? Like, he presented to Eileen Cannon. Let's just wait till the thing's over with. The
Oh, yeah,
presidential election.
yeah, that's why I was saying that I don't think that's going to work.
Because in his chart, maybe it would show all kinds of happy, right?
No, there's no happy. What happy?
Well, listen, if she said, okay, wait till that's when she'd be removed, because Jack would play it all the way to the upper courts.
Yeah, probably. But see, the thing is, if you say, well, I'm looking at a chart to see can he get those kinds of breaks? No, there aren't breaks there. It's all pressure. So, no.
Anything on Steve Bannon? Did you take a look? See,
Steve Bannon is hurting because Steve Bannon. Okay, so this is the classic. Steve Bannon is an early Sagittarius, right? He's, I think, 5 days or so into the Sagittarius. So that is the swath that Saturn is really piling into from March of this year till March of next year. So the period he's in now, things aren't going well, and he keeps getting judgments against him. And I think he was just ordered to pay
$490,000 to the law firm that was representing him.
Exactly, because he had only paid part of it, and that's the kind of thing that happens. And he's charged with quite a few things. So yeah, his odds of going down, they go up. They go up because
And the state is also on him. He got off because you can pardon a federal offense, but the state is going after him for the money he got for the border wall. And if he's convicted with the state, he can't be pardoned no matter who's in office.
it's so remarkable that, I mean, this whole GOP thing there is just full of thieves. They're all a bunch of thieves.
And
Right.
then Mike Lindell, didn't we look? I think you looked at him.
He's another one, yeah.
The little guy.
Yeah,
He's selling his equipment because none of the big box stores will take him now.
yeah, I think when I had looked, it was more of a money thing, which is what's happening to him, more of a collapse of that. Bannon, I think, is worse. It's a deeper, crashing and burning. And again, because if you say, well, I am a early Sagittarius also, well, then there'll be pressures in your life to grow and develop yourself. Life does this all the time. Every so many years,
Right.
pressures on you. But you probably can assume the FBI won't knock on your door, because why? Because you didn't do
Yeah.
anything for the FBI to knock on. But the way Bannon has behaved, it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
He's going to attract it, right? So, and it's right on cue. That's what happened to Giuliani too. For quite a while there, he was acting crazy, and now he's in years, not months, years where Saturn's moving in, probably going to get disbarred. I wouldn't be surprised
And
if
he's
worse.
drinking like a fish. Yeah.
Well, I heard that I don't know if you heard this, that when he did the meeting with Jack Smith, he spent 8 hours. I'm thinking, you were asked for 8 hours? Oh my God, that's not good.
No.
8 hours.
No.
Normally you think, okay, we ask a person for an hour, okay, what they know. 8 hours? I can just see them digging and digging. What did you say about, they'll probably be
Yeah.
trying to catch him in something. It's the other thing too that these people, I'm convinced that Giuliani and Trump have lost a mental step because Trump back 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I don't think he would have been this reckless. I really don't think he
Yeah.
would have been this insane. And Giuliani, you got to ask yourself, this guy used to be a prosecutor. He knows the rules,
He
right?
knows the rules.
So
Yeah.
how did he think that he was going to pull this off, during the election season? All these things that he did that are clearly either extremely unethical and or illegal. You know, I think
Yeah.
that's the problem with Trump. He infects everybody. He corrupts everything around them. And remember,
Always has, always has.
yeah,
Brought in a whole bunch of workers from Scotland to have them work on this tower and then didn't pay them.
yeah. Well, no, that's without question that he doesn't
He's
pay.
got all this karma building up on him, and you're just waiting for the big bang.
Yeah, no,
How does the guy
exactly.
sleep at night? How does he sleep at night?
Well, it helps a lot to be shameless. It helps
That's
a lot
true.
to be
I
as
haven't, I think he's probably the most shameless person I've ever met in my, not met him, but I've seen.
yeah. He's up there for sure, for sure. No
But in
question.
the meantime, how's Biden look? Jesus Christ. He's like 18 years older than me. And that guy is going to Europe. I'm sure he's comfortable on that plane and he doesn't even have to pick up his own suitcase. But the fact that he keeps traveling, he goes all over, he looks alive and well. I'd be dragging, you'd be saying, oh dear God, Linda looks like crap. He's just go, go, go.
Yeah, no, and his cycles are solid. This has been the thing that I remember in my channel when things got a little rough for him post the Afghanistan thing, and as we were going into the following year, people would leave these comments about a video I had posted saying, "Oh, this didn't age well," and look what you said, and I just said, "Well, hold on, let's see where this goes, right? See how this proceeds." And Biden continued, passed all kinds of legislation. The election went much better than people anticipated. He's done really well internationally. It's pretty much reflecting the chart, right? And
Right.
if you compare his chart to Trump's going into 24, it's much better. You'd have to be crazy to think that Trump's chart was a better chart going into the election. I know that some astrologers think that. They point to, 2 or 3 factors and ignore what's going on around. Especially the key thing is the Saturn. You don't want
Yeah.
Saturn in a place where it's staring at you and bringing up past deeds, the karmic patterns, many of which he created during his presidency, not just
Exactly.
before. He created them while he was in president and after he left too. I mean, he's not happy with committing crimes during the presidency. He did it afterwards as well because the records, that was a year and a half, that he had an opportunity to return.
Now, listen, I'm going to give a prediction, and it's been taxing me. I really feel Putin is desperate.
Hmm.
I don't, it won't be any kind of nuclear thing, but it's close. It's close. I feel he's furious right now about this NATO thing. And he'll want to make this war linger out because the minute the war is over, Ukraine's going to join NATO. So I'm feeling like he's energetically, maybe even thinking about hurting somebody or killing somebody. I'm telling you, this guy is up to no good.
But is it what you're saying? Are you pointing to but so not nuclear, but what, like some
I
other?
feel it's close to nuclear because I feel he's going to cause some damage or hurt somebody. But I feel it's going to be so bad and so obvious it's him. Remember that time there was that guy running against him and the guy was doing really good? Then he just got killed right on the wharf or something. He was dead. And he said, I'm going to find out who did this. It was him.
Yeah.
And it was obvious it was him. But nobody was in an uproar. Now he can't get away with that. I feel people will be in an uproar. Maybe
Yeah, well,
it's even that Mr. P guy will be found dead on the street somewhere. But and then everybody's upset about that. But I feel, because Russia isn't a place that you say, oh, we really want democracy, because they don't understand it. They don't pursue it as much as like America does, or even the women of Iran. They've tasted it before. Iran has tasted it before. Russia just feels like they want heroes, and he's not a hero anymore.
Yeah, well, I'll just say this. It's not his chart. Uh, there's no pathway. There's no favorability. There are too many problems, too many misalignments, including really the most dangerous thing. I've said this repeatedly to Trump and Putin is their health. Their health is it's a bomb waiting to blow. It's not a good thing, and this is more and more of a problem when one is aging and one is adding pressures.
Right.
And these things are high pressure because Putin isn't doing well, and he's also worried about being bumped off from the inside. And I mean, the whole thing is
The only little
scary.
piece of hope he has now is if Trump will win, but Trump's not going to win.
Well, exactly. Well,
The
Trump.
minute he knows Trump isn't going to win, that may be the end of him too.
Right, and then the thing would be, though, by that logic, though, what you're saying, do you feel like it's imminent, pretty close, or
Yeah, I've been getting that uncomfortable feeling, and I don't get that often. My guys always tell us not to worry, but I have this feeling of seething anger, and he hates Biden, and he's angry that NATO is, and then the minute the war stops, that they're going to take NATO in, and he just wants to destroy Ukraine. He wants to get rid of Zelensky. I'm telling you, the feelings I was getting were ugly. So his mind is working, that sneaky evil brain, trying to think of something he can do. But his armies are depleted. He doesn't have much in an army anymore. He can't do, like, he's so mad. If he was strong in the army, he'd do something to Turkey right now. I'm telling you, that's how mad he is.
Yeah, I don't totally. I wish I understood the war dynamics a little more, because I don't understand why, for example, it must be impossible for Ukraine to retake Crimea. It must be too difficult, because that's how you would start a major problem if the U.S., for example, or if NATO armed Ukraine specifically for that, to just do something to cut off that land bridge or do something really radical, because that would make Putin crazy, right?
Right.
But it feels like they're in this, slow progress, taking over ground they lost. But it doesn't sound like they're regaining big swaths
But
of ground.
after today, they're announcing all kinds of equipment they're going to get now, even more so than before. So, what did you pick up on something on Lindsey Graham?
Oh, Lindsey Graham, until past the election, is under constant pressure and constant reversals, things that don't work out. I mean, look at the guy. He says something, the opposite happens. Then you hear that he's got something's happening in that case. He's involved. It's not a good situation.
He stood up for the Ukraine.
Well, no, that part is fine. I mean,
I know, but everybody was booing him at that Trump
well,
rally.
that's the whole point, right? That you can't win. But it's his fault. He basically wants to always have it both ways. He wants to do the right thing in some ways, because he's definitely anti-Russian. But then, he probably wants to say to the crowd, "You people are fools," because they are when they don't realize
but it's also, if we vote for Trump, we got what's coming to us.
Yeah,
and he was right. You got what's coming, but he looks bad, Andre. He looks alcoholic. He looks like something's wrong with him.
Well, in his case, he's a very late cancer. I don't know his time of birth. I just know the day. He's got the sun really late in Cancer, so Pluto's opposing it. And again, don't give planets, don't provoke the situation by what you're doing. And he's provoked it. He's provoked it in multiple ways. Doing things that, of course, they come back to you. They come back to you because you do something and you change your mind, then people know you changed your mind, then you did some illegal thing here, the Justice Department wants to know. It's not a good scene. It's just not a good scene.
I don't see him in huge trouble legally. I just don't.
Yeah, that's
They
possible.
may slap him on the hand or something.
Yeah, like it could just be aggravation, but
But I feel physically him going downhill. And I think while he watches his master lose everything, he's going to try to shuffle and act like I didn't even know him. And people are going, you were the one that stood up for him. They'll be blaming everybody, by the way.
well, I mean, you see, the only problem with this argument is that these guys have figured out that they have these places they can go, Newsmax, OAN, Fox to some extent, and they basically can be telling you the world is blue today, and by tomorrow they tell you, no, the world is green. And then you think, but you just said it was blue. They know that they're people, whatever, they don't care. So then it used to be, that in the 30, 40 years ago, if you made statements and then, oh, he's a flip flopper, he's changing his mind, that makes him bad, let's get rid of him. They know that doesn't matter now. So they, I mean, Lindsey Graham is a total hypocrite. He said every single thing. Remember, he said that, he said at one point that he would never agree to appointing a judge the way McConnell did. He said that, and then he did that with Coney Barrett. He just completely blew off the promise that he had made, right? That
Yeah.
and many other things that he's done, where he completely reverses course. In the Congress, he said to the Congress, "Oh, I'm not. That's enough." After they tried to kill him and all the senators, I think I'm getting off this train. By the next day, they were yelling at him at the airport, and again, he changes his mind, right? So that's Lindsey Graham, but that's the entire Republican Party.
And his good dear friend that died, McCain,
Oh,
he let Trump talk like trash about him. He didn't stand up for his friend, and he loved Biden too.
Yeah, that's probably the saddest thing. The saddest thing is that these people, but it's going to make for some really good ads going into the election, because what you do is you put the statements and then you put.
Well, yeah, because he said if we vote for Trump, we got what's coming to us.
He did, yeah, that was his first thought. Yeah, no, it's true. There's a rule often in when you're working with your inner spirit, first thought, best thought. That's actually intuition. The first thought. If you question that thought, you'll probably get the wrong thought. He had the right impulse. He knew if we nominate Trump, we'll be destroyed. It's getting pretty close to that, because your party is all over the map, and you're attracting racists. And look at that other guy, the guy from Alabama. They had to drag him to say, hey, white nationalist is bad. That's racist. No, that's your opinion. After days and days of prayer, okay, white nationalist is a bad thing. He's going to these conferences where, I don't know if you saw this, they had this thing on the pamphlet that said they're aiming to have control by white people and also a maximum of 2% of Jews. What is this? This is Nazi Germany. Like, you're doing this in the US, It's crazy. Yeah. They're having these meetings, actual political meetings, to accomplish these goals. Unbelievable that someone doesn't say, stop doing this, right? This is the problem, that this kind of thing worked better 100 years ago or 70, 80 years ago. There was less media. Now, there are cameras everywhere, cell phones everywhere. You don't get away with anything. If you are doing something, someone's taking a picture, they pass it around, and that's a problem, because a lot of these people want to operate in secret, right? They're always trying to, sneak around.
And when Trump is finally exited, however way he's exited, there will be a sigh of relief amongst the Republicans.
Amongst the Republicans, for sure, yeah.
A lot of them are stuck with Trump. They have to do his bidding, including Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, well, they're stuck with his voters. Like, the part that is most really irritating about this is that it's one thing for you, it's bad if you tell people lies and they believe them and they follow you. But then when they tell you lies and you believe them, the vaccine thing, Trump was all hung up on, I'm going to bring in the greatest vaccine. And he took all the vaccines, all the boosters, always talking about how great the vaccines are. But now he can't talk about that because his people, his followers, have vaccines like this, right? So all of them, DeSantis, same thing. They switch gears. This means that the inmates are running the prison. That's not good. You should be saying to people, no, this is wrong. If you need to take your vaccine, right?
Right.
But they don't. And so then you have to ask, how can a party do well when this is the way you're running it. It's not really possible because you're
No.
promoting ignorance. So again,
Well, the main thing is their restrictions against voting rights and them hurting women with their freedom. They blew it. They blew it. They handed us the new presidency.
yeah, no, and they're very serious. I mean, it is a time. I I don't fault people for feeling nervous. Although it's good to feel nervous because then you're more likely to vote. There's no problem, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
look what they're doing in Ohio. They're trying to pass legislation so that now 50% is no longer enough. You have to get 60% to get rid of abortion, restrictions. Because they know that if they put it on the ballot, they'll lose. So they want to change those rules. But I think eventually you irritate people because when you start to see things like that, people realize you're trying to control us. You're trying to tell
Well,
us
that's
what
when
to
you
do.
start voting those people out. In the House.
Exactly. So the overreach is super dangerous. Yeah.
You believe we've been on an hour?
Well, there
Flew
you go.
by.
Because we talk.
Because we're very interesting people.
Yeah, I know. Every time we talk, we solve all the problems. Like after we
All the
talk,
problems of the world.
I know. It just after that everything works smoothly, but only for a week. We have to talk again.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Although, don't laugh. The way things are going, I have a feeling even by next week there may be something
Something good
going on
coming
here.
out.
I think we're getting close to some really important turning points. The second half of the month and the month of August. That's my
Okay.
sense of.
Well, I think Jack Smith is double timing it. We're trying to get well, he just did the grand jury.
Yeah.
Grand jury's in place. Yeah. He's double timing it as far as getting charges on Trump for January 6th.
Yeah.
I
No,
love
exactly.
it. I love it. I love it.
I know. I love it too.
All
All right.
right, my friend.
Thank you for
Thank you.
visiting, and I look forward to when we talk next.
Okay. All right, sweetie. You take care.